I don't take steroids, what do I care? Initially I thought, well, it is your most asked topic, and one with the most thumbs ups. Or at least it appears that way. Having said that, who's your favourite Pokemon is not really going to register with me. Whereas these controversial topics make me go, oh, do I really want to open up that can of Wrigley's this week? That's just going to have more resonance. Now I get it, it's human nature. If I take the position that I'm not anti-steroid because of the same reasons that everybody else is, then I'm going to get categorized as pro-steroid and I'm just justifying it for my own uses. And that's why people don't like talking about this subject, because it's polarizing and it's categorizing. I guess if I had thinner skin, it would act like a kind of a censorship. Not to mention the fact that the second I do videos on steroids, they're branded as non-advertiser friendly and I just lose monetization like that. And that de facto is a type of censorship. Some people sit down and shut up when the pressure comes. But some people stand up and start talking. This is me talking. Like I've said a couple of times in the comments, you don't have to do something or be a part of a group in order to think consistently and critically about something. I've defended and will continue to defend the gay community without being a part of that group. I can see the virtues in legalizing weed, and I love me some Tone Loc Chiba Chiba. But I don't smoke none. But there's something deep inside of me that's always felt really uneasy about the steroid debate. In my head, I've always argued it with that yeah, but style of argument. But now I realise that that was just because I couldn't see the central issue that was bothering me. Then, long-time subscriber Stefan the Cannon made a great point. He was talking about moral clarity and right and wrong in relation to the use of steroids, and suddenly it just all came together. Wow, that's a long intro. Preach! Testify! Right, wrong, good, bad, binary. I hate binary thinking. This whole channel is underpinned by spectral thinking. It suddenly made me realise that steroids is a fitness industry version of the devil, another man-made boogeyman. But every devil needs an angel. So, who's the angel in this? Diet and exercise? Hard work? That's how the moralists argue it. So, let's just look at it morally for a second, because that's where the inconsistencies appear. If morals are absolute, which they argue, rather than relative, which I think they are, then good can never be made better by bad. Now, these are abstract concepts and therefore hard to think about. So let's do what children's books do and give good and bad personalities. And let's use the ones that have already been ascribed. God is good, but he can't be made more good by the devil. But can you see how that doesn't work with steroids? Using the devil gets you to God. Here's another example. Let me ask you. Name me one virtue that is improved by sinning. Here's a short list of virtues, here's a short list of sins. Now, can anyone tell me how you would get to one of those virtues by using one of those sins? Sins don't improve virtues, otherwise they'd be virtues. Okay, now let me take a look at another inconsistency that I see. The purpose of the object has been specifically designed to produce that result. I'm not a gun guy, but I understand that the purpose of the gun has been specifically designed to put a hole in something or someone. I don't agree with war, but I do accept that the idea of war is to win. And if you want to win, then you're going to need to put some holes in people. And the best way to do that is with a gun. So having the stance that the use of guns in war is immoral. Oh, war's fine, but just don't use no guns. So you can stab, you can shank, you can chop, you can catapult, you can napalm and bomb, but don't use no guns because they're wrong. That seems arbitrary. I'd say don't go to war. And in relation to steroids, I don't want to agree with a bunch of arbitrary, inconsistent rules that were created by a bunch of guys years ago when things were different and are now being continued by another group that have got their own agenda for keeping them that's got nothing to do with my best interests. That is the downfall of every religion. And by the way, here's some other inconsistencies that have bothered me. So we've got this double standard for entertainment. An artist uses CGI, auto-tune, lighting, Photoshop, makeup, etc. It's just tricks of the trade. We don't want to concern ourselves with how it gets done. We just want to enjoy the product. But sports, they fill this strange airspace for us. Art seems to be creatively driven enough to have no rules. Business and politics seems to be financially driven enough to make your own rules. And sport seems to be stuck in this strange position where everybody else makes the rules. The reality of this world is that we have this battle with steroids because this is what happens when you reward product over effort. This is the net effect of everyone agreeing that being the best is best. We the people have ranked winning as the most important thing. Winning at all costs is the message. You could fit all the spectators for a low-level athletics event in a mini. We don't want to see competition. We want to see the best compete. All those who say, well, I wouldn't break the rules if I was them. First, 99.9999% of you aren't them. Second, that's why you're not where they are. And third, you'd be surprised what you do if you were in their position. Because if you were in their position, you'd be them. That's why I think that steroids is a good example of an exercise in empathy. Most of us don't take steroids, so it gives us the chance to see the world through someone else's eyes. Trying to understand their motivations makes us a better human being. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't take heroin, but I try to have empathy for those that do. I try to understand why they do it, what they're getting out of it, what hole they're filling, because I think that makes me a more developed human being. There was this guy, I can't remember his name, but he said something like maybe take the plank out of your own eye so that you can see clearly to take the speck out of someone else's. Something like that. I guess it just wasn't one of his catchy lines. Outrage is easy. Condemnation and blame is simple. By the time we get to 2, we've mastered those traits. The world doesn't line up the way we want it to. It's tantrum time. Understanding the world and others is something that we develop as we get older. Different groups provide us an exercise in learning that skill, and people who take steroids, they're just another group to understand. And for all those people who are struggling with the idea of empathizing with somebody who breaks the rules, take driving. The overwhelming societal message is driving safely. It's the common goodbye. Drive safe. Have a safe journey. How many people have broken a speed limit on some road at some time in their lives, despite the fact that the societal message is the complete opposite? Even when the societal message is the complete opposite, we do what's best for us at the time, and we justify it in our minds. I was going to be late. There's no one on the road. It was an emergency. And if you've never sped or done anything that anyone else would consider to be immoral, then you truly are holier than thou. And you can have my stone to throw, because I don't need it. But ultimately, this video isn't really about who has the right to say that steroids are wrong. It's just pointing out the insane situation where we think someone's a religious nut job if they refuse medical treatment, but we've managed to be convinced as the public that there are certain medicines that are wicked to take. I can't swallow that hypocrisy. I can't reconcile that arbitrary distinction. But most of all, I don't like my decisions, my rational decisions, being based on fear. Fear is a sensible driver in a fight or flight situation. You see a big tiger, fear is the appropriate response, but fear has no place in a rational decision. Steroids is a medication that enhances performance and health. It's not a fight or flight issue. I don't want to treat it like Candyman and never mention it for fear of being accused. I don't want to accept the marketing that it's like Jason and I need to beware of it. I just want to rationally consider the pros and cons, which I'll do in the next 2 videos, rather than thinking about it like some kind of devil that's got corrupting influence. That's the twist movement. Shameless plug.